There's a moment in every modern dating interaction where reality hits, when a man finally says what he's actually thinking instead of what he's supposed to say, when he stops playing the game and speaks truth. And the shock on some women's faces is priceless. They're not prepared for honesty because they've been living in a world where everyone tells them what they want to hear. Let me show you what happens when men stop pretending and start telling the truth about modern dating, relationships, and what they really want. Modern dating interactions are filled with instant judgment that nobody wants to admit. Within 3 seconds, she's decided if you're attractive enough. Within 10 seconds, she's calculated your probable income. Within 30 seconds, she's rated you against every other option on her phone. But if a man admits he noticed her weight or age first, suddenly he's shallow. The hypocrisy is staggering. I watched a speed dating event recently where women were rating men on clipboards, literally scoring them like livestock. One guy, decent looking, stable job, genuine personality, kept getting 4s and 5s out of 10. When asked why, one woman said, "He seems nice, but he's just average." Then she wondered why men don't approach anymore. You just called a solid man worthless to his face, and you're confused about male confidence. The oversharing for attention has reached absurd levels. Some people will literally brag about their dysfunction to seem interesting. "I've cheated on every boyfriend. I slashed my ex's tires. I dated 3 guys at once." They share these stories like achievements, not realizing they're advertising their toxicity. Then they're shocked when quality men want nothing to do with them. Here's a truth that shocks some women. Men's and women's value develops differently over time. At 22, an attractive woman has infinite options, while a 22-year-old man is usually struggling. But by 35, that successful man has options worldwide, while some women are panicking about their biological clock. Men build value through achievement. Some women coast on depreciating beauty. When men point this out, the meltdown is immediate. The conversations about money and status reveal uncomfortable truths. A woman making $40,000 will demand a man making $200,000. When asked what she brings to match that financial value, she's offended. "I bring myself." Okay, but yourself doesn't pay the mortgage. Yourself doesn't fund retirement. Some women genuinely believe their presence alone is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Men with normal, stable lives are being dismissed as not enough constantly. Electrician making $70,000. Not enough. Teacher with summers off. Not enough. IT professional with good benefits. Not enough. These are solid men with respectable careers, but some modern women are comparing them to Instagram millionaires who don't actually exist. I counselled a guy who was rejected for driving a 2018 Honda. Not a broken car, not an old beater, a 5-year-old reliable vehicle. She said it showed he lacked ambition. He's 28, owns his condo, has 0 debt, and saves 30% of his income. But the car wasn't impressive enough for her Instagram photos. This is the level of superficial judgment men face. The absurd extremes in dating behaviour would be funny if they weren't tragic. Some women openly admit they'd choose a rich man who cheats over a loyal middle-class man. They'll manipulate their social media to make exes jealous instead of actually moving on. They treat relationships like business transactions, then wonder why there's no emotional connection. The confessions revealing poor judgment are everywhere now. "I left my husband because I was bored. Now I'm 40 and alone. I rejected good men in my 20s. Now I can't find anyone. I thought I could do better. Turns out I was the problem." The honesty comes, but only after the consequences hit. By then, the men who would have committed are long gone. Social double standards are destroying honest communication. Some women have lists of requirements longer than mortgage applications. Height, income, career, car, house, style, humour, muscles, emotional availability, ambition. The list never ends. But if a man says he prefers someone who's fit and pleasant, suddenly he's asking too much. He's unrealistic. He's toxic. A man told me his date showed up 50 pounds heavier than her photos. When he politely ended the date early, she called him fatphobic and shallow, but she had 6 feet plus in her bio. She literally discriminated based on unchangeable height while using fake photos, but he's the shallow one for expecting honesty. The mental gymnastics are Olympic level. Commentary on value in relationships triggers meltdowns because it forces accountability. When men point out that beauty without personality is worthless long-term, some women rage. When men explain that entitlement without contribution is exhausting, they're called misogynists. Some people genuinely believe they deserve everything while offering nothing but their presence. The reflections on regret and life choices are heartbreaking but predictable. Single mothers wondering why men won't step up to raise another man's children. Women who prioritise career over family now desperate for babies at 42. Those who dated bad boys exclusively now wanting stable men who want younger women. The regret is real, but it comes too late. I see posts from women saying, "I wish I knew then what I know now." You did know. Everyone told you. Your parents, your friends, even the nice guys you rejected. You just didn't want to hear it. You thought you were different. You thought the rules didn't apply. Now reality has arrived, and reality doesn't care about your feelings. The younger versus older dating dynamics create massive tension. A 35-year-old successful man dating a 25-year-old woman sends some older women into rage. He's immature. He can't handle a real woman. No, he can handle a real woman fine. He just prefers one without baggage, bitterness, and biological pressure. When men state this preference honestly, the backlash is immediate. Emotional baggage influencing dating outcomes is obvious but unacknowledged. Some people bring trust issues, past trauma, and resentment to every new interaction. They're not dating you, they're fighting ghosts from past relationships. They're not seeing you, they're seeing every man who hurt them. But if you point this out, you're gaslighting them. A client went on a date where the woman spent 2 hours talking about her ex. Every story, every comparison, every reference, all about the ex. When he said he wasn't interested in a second date, she was shocked. But we had such a good connection. No, you had a therapy session where he didn't consent to be your counsellor. Men feeling punished for having preferences is creating massive resentment. Want someone healthy? Fat-phobic? Want someone feminine? Sexist? Want someone without massive debt? Classist? Want someone without children? Selfish? Meanwhile, some women openly discriminate based on height, income, race, and status with zero shame. The social commentary on declining relationship satisfaction is everywhere. Dead bedrooms, emotional distance, parallel lives instead of partnerships. People are more connected digitally but more lonely personally than ever. The truth? Many modern relationships are just two people using each other while looking for better options. When men point out these patterns, some women don't want to hear it. They want validation, not truth. They want to be told they're perfect as is. They want to hear that the right man will accept everything about them unconditionally. But that's not reality. Everyone has standards. Everyone has limits. Everyone has deal breakers. Here's a truth bomb that triggers instant denial. Most modern dating problems are self-inflicted. People choose the wrong partners, ignore red flags, and prioritize the wrong qualities. Then they blame the entire opposite gender for their poor choices. If you consistently attract toxic people, maybe examine what you're advertising. Some women advertise chaos and wonder why they attract chaos. Post thirst traps, then complain about only attracting players. Brag about being crazy, then wonder why stable men avoid them. Share every drama publicly, then question why quality men don't take them seriously. You're showing exactly who you are, and men are believing you. The financial expectations versus contribution imbalance is unsustainable. Some women want traditional provision with modern independence. They want a man who pays for everything but have no intention of traditional reciprocation. They want 1950s financial support with 2024 feminist attitudes. When men point out this impossibility, they're called cheap. A guy I know dated someone who expected him to pay for everything. Dates, trips, gifts, while she saved her entire salary. When he suggested splitting some costs after 6 months, she accused him of not being a real man. She made $80,000 but contributed nothing. This isn't partnership, it's exploitation. The "where are all the good men" question has a simple answer. Some women don't want to hear. The good men are everywhere. They're just invisible to women chasing the top 5% of men. They're the ones you swiped left on for being under 6 feet. They're the ones you ignored for not having a luxury car. They're the ones you friend-zoned for being too nice. When average men explain their reality, some women refuse to believe it. The hundreds of rejections, the ghosting, the being treated as ATMs, the assumption of bad intentions, the constant testing, the disposability. Some women genuinely don't understand that average men's dating experience is brutal because they only notice attractive men. The cognitive dissonance is profound. The same women complaining about male standards have height requirements. The same women angry about body preferences use filters on every photo. the same women demanding acceptance for their past judge men for their present. The hypocrisy is so normalised they can't even see it. Here's what happens when men tell the truth about attraction. Physical appearance matters, weight matters, femininity matters, past behaviour matters, current attitude matters. These aren't controversial statements, they're reality. But saying them out loud causes meltdowns because some women have been told these things don't matter. The body count conversation especially triggers rage. When men say they prefer partners with fewer previous partners, they're called insecure. But those same accusers wouldn't date a 40-year-old virgin. They wouldn't date someone who lived with their parents. They wouldn't date someone shorter than them. Everyone has preferences. Men just aren't allowed to express theirs. Some modern women are shocked when men refuse to accept disrespect. When he walks away from being yelled at. When he refuses to tolerate public embarrassment. When he won't accept being compared to exes. They've been told men should handle their emotions, their outbursts, their drama. But men are learning they don't have to handle anything. A client's girlfriend would berate him in public regularly, criticise his clothes, his job, his friends, all in front of people. When he finally left, she was stunned. But I was just being honest. No, you were being abusive. Men don't have to accept disrespect just because it comes with tears attached. The refusal to acknowledge male emotions while demanding emotional labour is exhausting. Men are supposed to be emotional support systems while having no emotional needs themselves. They're supposed to validate, comfort and reassure constantly, while never needing the same in return. When men point out this imbalance, they're called weak. The dating app statistics reveal truths some women don't want to acknowledge. The same 10% of men getting 90% of matches, the average man getting 1 match per 100 swipes, the bottom 50% of men being essentially invisible. But when these men give up and stop trying, suddenly there's a shortage of men. Some women's profiles read like ransom demands. Must be 6 feet plus, 6 figures, own house, nice car, no kids, never married, fit, funny, emotionally available, ambitious but not workaholic, traditional but feminist ally, confident but not cocky. Then their bio says, I love to laugh and have fun. That's what you're offering in exchange for perfection? Laughter. The truth about modern dating is that both genders are struggling, but only one is allowed to complain. Women can write articles about dating difficulties and receive sympathy. Men who express frustration are labelled incels. Women's standards are knowing their worth. Men's standards are toxic masculinity. When men explain they're opting out, some women panic. Not because they care about those specific men, but because they realise the backup options are disappearing. The safe, stable guys they plan to settle for after having their fun? They're no longer waiting. They're building lives without women. The intimidation excuse is particularly amusing. Men are just intimidated by successful women. No, men just don't care about your career the way you care about theirs. Your MBA doesn't make you more attractive to men. Your executive position doesn't increase your dating value. Men aren't intimidated. They're indifferent to things that don't add value to their lives. Some women mistake masculine indifference for oppression. Men don't care about your degree, your car, your designer bags. They care if you're pleasant, attractive, supportive, and add peace to their lives. When men express these priorities honestly, they're called backwards. But these are male preferences, not female preferences projected onto men. The fertility reality is the harshest truth some women face. At 35, talking about wanting kids someday. At 38, when the time is right. At 42, spending fortune on IVF. Biology doesn't care about career goals. Eggs don't wait for the perfect moment. When men point out this timeline, they're called cruel for stating biological facts. A woman I know spent her 20s and 30s finding herself. Travel, experiences, casual relationships. Now at 41, she's desperate for a baby and angry that men her age want younger women to start families with. She had 20 fertile years to prioritise family. She chose otherwise. That's not men's fault. The accountability allergy is real. When confronted with consequences of choices, the deflection is immediate. Gained weight, medication, can't find a relationship. Men are trash. Career stalled, sexism, life unfulfilling. Society failed them. There's always an external reason, never personal responsibility. Some modern women are shocked when men don't chase anymore, when they don't beg, when they don't pursue relentlessly. Men have learned that enthusiasm isn't reciprocated, effort isn't appreciated, and pursuit is often labelled harassment, so they stopped. And now some women are confused why men don't try harder. The bare minimum expectation while demanding maximum effort is exhausting men. She shows up and expects celebration. She texts back and wants gratitude. She exists and demands compensation. Meanwhile, men are expected to be providers, protectors, entertainers, therapists, and handymen while being grateful for basic acknowledgement. When men state they want peace over drama, some women hear boring. No, peace isn't boring, it's healthy. Stability isn't dull, it's mature. Consistency isn't predictable, it's reliable. Men who've experienced chaos know the value of calm. But some women interpret lack of drama as lack of passion. The social media delusion has convinced some women they're all prizes. Every woman is a queen who deserves the world and shouldn't settle. But deserving requires earning. Queenship requires responsibility. Not settling requires being worth commitment. Instagram motivation doesn't override reality. Here's what men really think when evaluating partners. What does she add to my life? Does she make my days better or worse? Does she bring peace or problems? Does she support or sabotage? Is she an asset or a liability? These aren't cruel calculations. They're practical evaluations everyone makes. Some women bring debt, drama, demands, and children from previous relationships, then wonder why successful men aren't interested. You're not offering partnership, you're offering problems. You're not bringing value, you're bringing baggage. When men honestly explain this, they're called heartless. The traditional benefits with modern freedom's paradox is unsustainable. Want doors opened but equal treatment. Want bills paid but independence. Want protection but no gender roles. Want provision but no expectations. Some women want all the advantages of both traditional and modern relationships with none of the responsibilities of either. When men point out these contradictions, the response is predictable. You just can't handle a strong woman. No, we can handle strong women fine. We just won't handle entitled ones. Strength is attractive. Demands without reciprocation aren't. Know the difference. The truth about preferences is everyone has them. Height, weight, age, income, education, personality. Everyone filters for something. The difference is men are honest about their filters while some women pretend they don't have any, until forced to admit them. A woman friend told me she doesn't care about money, then listed her last 5 boyfriends, all wealthy. She doesn't care about height but never dated under 6 feet. She doesn't care about status but all had impressive jobs. The preferences exist. Some people just lie about them. The victim mentality prevents growth. If you're always the victim, you never have to change. If it's always someone else's fault, you never have to improve. If the world is against you, you never have to try. Some women have made victimhood their identity, then wonder why they attract predators. When men explain what they find attractive, femininity, kindness, support, beauty, peace, some women argue these preferences are wrong. They don't try to embody these qualities. They try to convince men to want something different. It's like a restaurant serving bad food, then arguing customers should like it. The "you'll die alone" threat has lost its power. Men are realizing dying alone in peace beats living together in misery. Being single at 50 with freedom beats being married at 50 in conflict. Some women can't comprehend that men would choose solitude over bad companionship. Here's the truth that shocks some women most. Men don't need them the way women need men. Men can hire cooking, cleaning, even companionship. But women can't hire genuine masculine energy, protection, and provision. The power dynamic has shifted, and some women haven't adjusted their strategies. The good men some women claim don't exist are everywhere. They're just not exciting enough. They're stable, which reads as boring. They're consistent, which feels predictable. They're genuine, which seems weak. Some women are attracted to chaos, then surprised when their lives are chaotic. When men share their experiences honestly, they're called bitter. When they explain their preferences clearly, they're called shallow. When they set boundaries firmly, they're called controlling. But these aren't character flaws. They're learned behaviors from years of poor treatment. The modern dating market is broken because honesty is punished. Men who tell the truth are vilified. Women who acknowledge reality are ostracized. Everyone pretends things that aren't true to avoid conflict. But pretending doesn't change reality. It just delays the inevitable confrontation with it. The instant judgment culture has made authentic connection nearly impossible. Everyone's performing, nobody's being real. Dating profiles are marketing campaigns, not honest representations. First dates are job interviews, not genuine interactions. People are so busy trying to impress, they forget to actually connect. When men drop the performance and speak plainly, some women are shocked by the authenticity. The manipulation through social media that some people attempt is transparent to aware men. Posting stories to make exes jealous, uploading photos with other men to create competition anxiety, crafting a lifestyle that doesn't exist. Men see through this now. We know the game, and increasingly, we're choosing not to play. The conversation about expectations versus reality needs to happen. Some women expect movie romance while offering sitcom effort. They want fairy tale treatment while bringing reality TV behaviour. They demand king treatment while acting like court jesters. The disconnect between expectation and contribution is staggering. When men articulate their exhaustion with modern dating dynamics, they're told they're giving up too easily. But how many times should someone accept disrespect? How many games should they play? How many rejections should they endure? At what point is walking away not giving up, but wisdom? The pressure on average men has become unbearable. They're expected to compete with the top 10% while being told they're privileged. They're supposed to be grateful for scraps while providing feast. They're told their struggles don't matter while their success is demanded. Some women will read this and rage. They'll say it's all lies, all misogyny, all bitterness. But others will recognize the truth in it. They'll see the patterns in their own lives. They'll understand why their relationships keep failing. And maybe, just maybe, they'll choose change over comfort. The men who figured this out aren't angry anymore. They're not bitter. They're not even disappointed. They're just done. Done pretending. Done performing. Done accepting less than they deserve while giving more than they receive. They're telling the truth now, and some women can't handle it. But here's the thing. Truth doesn't require anyone's approval. Reality doesn't need validation. Facts don't care about feelings. Men are sharing their experiences, their preferences, their boundaries. And for the first time in modern history, they're not apologizing for any of it. The shock on some women's faces when men refuse to play along anymore is just the beginning. When men stop simping, stop chasing, stop accepting disrespect, stop funding entitlement, stop enabling dysfunction, the entire dynamic changes. Some women will adapt. They'll recognize the changing landscape and adjust. They'll offer genuine value, real partnership, actual reciprocation. They'll be the ones in happy, healthy relationships. The others? They'll keep complaining about where all the good men went while surrounded by the men they made invisible. I want to hear from you guys. What truth have you told that shocked women? What honest observation caused the biggest reaction? What reality check got you labelled as toxic? Drop your experiences in the comments. Let's normalize men telling the truth, even when, especially when, it's uncomfortable. Because honesty might be shocking, but it's necessary. And it's time more men started speaking it.